Of course, welcome back. Now, this week, the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, appeared before the Nigeria Police Forces Intelligence Response Team, IRT, to answer to allegations of criminal conspiracy, terrorism financing, treasonable felony, subversion, and cybercrime leveled against him by the force. Ajaero, dressed in traditional black attire, was accompanied to the IRT office in Abuja by his counsel, Femi Falana. Ahead of Mr. Ajaero's scheduled appearance, the NLC General Secretary, Emmanuel Abuja, reiterated the union's unwavering commitment to peace and non-violent advocacy. However, tensions ran high as the NLC signaled its readiness to mobilize its members nationwide should the police take action against Ajaero. Now, I still have Dennis and Olufemi Lawson with me. Olufemi Lawson, you were quite very vocal about this issue last week. Now, NLC president finally honored the police invitation after so much brouhaha and so much internet sensation and all of that. It looked civil from all indications. Now, why was there so much buzz around it anyway? Because the whole invitation didn't really look as serious as it sounded when it was initially announced.
Well, it's the tension generated around this invitation or not is basically due to the fact that there seems to be no trust, no cordial relationship, not only between the labor leadership and the Nigerian Police Force, but also between the labor leadership as presently constituted and the current administration in the country. Even though when there are issues of wages, salary increase and the likes to be discussed, that we have had no reasons to see the labor leadership go into meetings with government, smile, and of course, come out with, smiling faces. It's very unfortunate that we've had this level of tension, basically because it looks so much like the leadership of the labor union do not have any trust in the security apparatus, particularly the police.
Okay.
And I think irrespective of the allegation or who is involved, it is only civil that we approach this without resorting to any use of brute force and all this drama like we experienced over the couple of days. I think every tension generated became demystified by the fact that the president of the NLC went there with his lawyers, and under a few minutes he was out, and people were expecting heaven to fall.
All right.
Ended up being disappointed.
All right, Dennis, I want you to join us on this very important issue. Now, the NLC president was hesitant when he was initially invited. Do you think having faith in our police force is gradually dying out? Because why would the police force invite you and you make so much noise about it? It was just an invitation. It wasn't a ploy to either lock you up or something, but do you think the faith in the police force is finally draining out, and that's why this drama occurred?
Yes, there is mutual distrust and the trust deficit that the public has with the police force, because everything was done wrongly. Everything was done wrongly. And this is what we've been preaching about. If they want to be professional about this, and the police actually know that there is some kind of terrorist financing that is going on, either around the NLC or inside the NLC, what they would have done was to go ahead and investigate it discreetly. Get the facts together, collect all the evidence, and then, of course, you don't have to invite him. For terrorism, you don't invite people to talk with them. You arrest them, and start interrogating them. That's what you do with terrorism, not terrorism financing. Okay, let's say it's financing, and they've maybe got some hint. What they would have done was to gather this information, get him in when they have enough. But accusing him, first of all, announcing it, and then, of course, before even an arrest was made, the guy quickly ran to his lawyers, and you saw the kind of display, a barrel of lawyers following him down there, intimidating the police. Because under that kind of escort that he had, I don't believe that they can arrest him, So if actually he was even financing terrorism, it spoils the case because he cannot, they cannot follow that case properly again because other elements have come into play. So I think everything was done very wrongly.
All right, Olufemi Lawson, he said everything was done wrongly. That as long as it was a terrorism financing allegation, that the police would have done their investigation thoroughly and go and arrest them instead of actually inviting them. Arresting the people involved and possibly having to bring the NLC president into the picture, would that not have escalated into something else?
Yes, that was where I was going to come in.
All right.
If we had woken up tomorrow morning and it's all over the news that NSA president arrested overnight, charges, it would have been worse than what we saw over the last, because the truth is that the economy has been shut down tomorrow, workers would have down tool, and all sort of issues would have arisen. I think the police has a duty to investigate. I listened to the Inspector General of Police stating how the president of NSA became linked to these issues around one of the tenants of the union, not his tenant anyway, in the NSA headquarters, and some of that issues around. Why the police may have been trying to be transparent in letting Nigerians know why it was inviting the NLC president. I think must have been one of the move to douse tension that may arise as a result of just waking up and arresting, because the reaction that would have come out after part of a possible arrest of the president of the NLC without Nigerians knowing the charges would have been much more than what we saw over the last couple of days that this incident lasted.
All right, well, time is already fast spent. Dennis, very quickly, your final thoughts on the NLC president, Ajaero. Do you think his actions were justified from the very start? In 20 seconds, can we quickly do this because we're about to sign off?
Well, I'll differ a little bit with your guest in the studio because it is not a matter of announcing, arresting, and announcing.
Right.
Because I think even the NLC cannot just go on strike. Being the NLC president does not mean that you're above the law. So if actually is involved in terrorist financing, and then the police do their discreet investigation, gather enough information, and then arrest him, then announce to the world, to the country that this is what is happening and this is what we have seen, invite his lawyers to come because he's entitled to a lawyer.
All right.
I don't think any labor is going to go on strike because nobody's above the law.
Thank you so much, Dennis Amachi, for your time. We really appreciate your time on the program this evening. Of course, Dennis is a retired Assistant Director, Department of State Services, DSS, and of course, Olufemi Lawson. Always a pleasure to have you here.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. Well, and that's our show for today. Remember, you can follow the conversation on our social media platforms at TVC News NG or on our website at tvcnews.tv. I am Marco Tabo. And until next week, goodbye.